Greetings, dear viewers! I'm Quill Quickcard, and welcome to Final Fantasy II. I am going to be playing specifically the Game Boy Advance version from Final Fantasy I and II Dawn of Souls. I am doing this for a few key reasons. First of all, I have it. Second of all, it will let me eventually be able to access an extra post-story scenario that I may or may not get to someday. I have really been looking forward to this, and I have also been dreading this. Because even if you don't think this is a bad Final Fantasy game, there is not a person alive who could say that it is not tedious. Let's begin. Aw, what lovely names for our characters. I'm sure we can do something about that. Let's see, Maria. No, you don't strike me as a Maria. You shall be Bob. There you go. See, Bob? I respect your life choices. Firion. You shall be Lerp. You know, I really should think these names through better before I input them. And Guy. Very strong face you have there, Guy. I will call you... screw it. You can be my self-insert. Why not? And Leon. You shall be... Coperp. You shall be Coperp. Yeah, those look like good names. Yeah, I guess we are starting with those names. God's help us. A long-lived peace. Aw, everything's wonderful and happy. What could possibly go wrong is at an end. Oof. The Emperor of Palamecia has called forth monsters from the underworld and has begun his campaign for world conquest. A rebel army arose in the Kingdom of Fynn to thwart the Emperor's plans. But the rebels' castle fell to an all-out assault by the Empire. Yeah-oh. Left with little choice, the rebels withdrew to the remote town of Altair. Four youths from Flynn also found themselves fleeing the Imperial forces. They had lost their parents at the hands of the Empire. But their escape wasn't over. Oh yes! This is how Final Fantasy II starts. Fighting a battle that you cannot win. But who knows, maybe we'll get lucky. Or maybe we really won't get lucky. See, at least Bob is putting up a fight, right? Well, we did our best. Thanks, everybody. Nah. We're gonna keep going. Final Fantasy II is probably the most narrative-heavy of all the original Famicom Final Fantasy games. And it's actually quite unfortunate that it doesn't get as well remembered for that and for all the other things it brought to the series. Will he live? He will. I sense a strong life force within him. He should regain consciousness soon. We should probably leave him here alone on the cold stone floor. We found them like this on the escape from Finn, fallen from terrible wounds. By the time we brought them here, I feared it was already too late. His life is not in danger. This sigil will strengthen his life force. We should let him rest now, alone, on the cold stone floor of a place he's never been. Of course. We'd best be off to the meeting. I imagine they're already waiting for us. If the Empire is allowed to complete the Dreadnought, they're building in Bfxr. Bfxr? I guess that's how you would say it, Bfxr. Their attack will begin in earnest. We cannot sit idly by and watch. We must act. One wonders, though, if they steamrolled the rest of the world so easily, why they need to build a super death battleship in order to take over the rest. Where am I? Coperp! Bob! Quill! Where are you? Lerp! You're alive! I thought you'd... I'm fine, Bob. You alright too, Quill? But wait, where's Coperp? Princess of Finn, save us. But Coperp not here. I see. Don't worry. I'm sure he's okay. This is gonna be one hell of a journey. So, you've regained your strength. Very good. Your life force is strong indeed. It was you who saved us, wasn't it? Thank you. Forgive me, Your Highness, but there is something I must ask of you. Please allow us to join the rebel army. I could never allow such a thing. You know nothing of battle. You would only be throwing your lives away. You should return to your homes. But we have no homes. Not anymore. The Imperials attacked, and our parents... Our parents... I am truly sorry, but even so, this changes nothing. I cannot permit you to join our army. If you've nowhere else to go, you're welcome to stay here in Altair. If you know our password, you should be able to live here well enough. The password is Wild Rose. Remember it well. So here is one of the first newer things in Final Fantasy II. There are some key pieces of dialogue or items or information that you can say to people in order to elicit different reactions. It's not on many people. It's not as fleshed out as it could be, but for a game that came out in 1988, this is big. they had primitive dialogue trees. And it works. So now we can ask her about anything that we've learned, and in this case we'll just ask, really, Wild Rose? The Wild Rose is the insignia of the Kingdom of Finn. It represents our hope for a future that flourishes in both strength and beauty. But what will become of Finn now? I've heard that the Empire's captives have been taken there and suffer even as we speak. Bob, your brother Coperp is missing, is he not? It's possible that he's being held in Finn as well. But Finn is far too dangerous now. The Emperor's beasts still stalk the streets. Gaining entrance to the city will not be easy. The man at my right is Minwu, the white wizard who tended your wounds. Don't mind his little dance. Everyone in this world just sort of moves around when they're not doing anything. Speak with him before you leave. He may be of some assistance. Hi, Minwu. I see your destiny clearly. Good. Can you tell me what it is? The future it holds seems closely entwined with my own. You will begin by journeying to Finn. That is the first step toward realizing your fate. Hey, can I ask you about Wild Rose? You've wasted no time using the password. Heed well the information it will bring you. You can learn much of value by listening. I offer you one more bit of advice before you depart for Finn. Those who have fallen in battle can be revived at a sanctuary. Should one of you fall before you reach Finn, go without hesitation to the nearest sanctuary. Got anything to say? The port of Paloom lies not far east of here, but a lake separates us, so you won't be able to reach the town without a canoe. Reminds me, let me bump up my message speeds here. We'll turn on default running. Yes, much better. Heading to Finn, are we? It's not my place to tell you what to do, but I'd reconsider if I were you. It's a dangerous place to be, you see. The city is crawling with the Empire's monsters. To the north lies a small village called Getria. Judging by the look of you, you'd be lucky to make it that far. Before you go anywhere, I suggest you visit the room with the sigil that saved your life. There you'll find people who can teach you a thing or two about adventuring. I think you're going to need all the advice they can spare. And if you have never actually played Final Fantasy II, I strongly suggest that you listen to that advice. This game is very different from other Final Fantasies that came before, which was just one, and other Final Fantasies that came after. His Majesty was sorely wounded in the flight from Finn. He's been resting here for some time now. Hi, King. An arrow struck me in the back during the battle, leaving me in this state. Perhaps I really have grown old. My daughter Hilda now serves as regent. You should speak with her. Damn. If only she knew some kind of a white wizard or something. Okay. Final Fantasy II utilizes a very different system. It does not use experience and levels. Instead, you've got your base stats, and then they increase or decrease in battle depending on the actions that your character undertakes. If you keep beating people with weapons, your strength will go up, your stamina, eventually your intelligence might start to go down. If you keep using black magic, your intelligence will go up, your maximum MP will go up. If you keep using white magic, your spirit will go up, your MP will go up, your magic stats. The way you gain maximum HP is by being beaten up in battle and ending it without healing yourself. Basically, taking damage and keeping damage is how maximum HP increases. There are multiple different weapon classes, and for every character, their skill with those weapons increases as you use them. And it takes time for those things to increase. That being said, though, many of the weapon skills are, to put it frankly, not useful. Because toward the end of the game, you're not going to be finding daggers that are going to help you. You're just not. So, magic will also work the same way once I get some. Magic also levels up as you use it, up to level 16. The result is that this game has a lot of grinding, and it is not especially fun grinding. And unfortunately, that was really the death blow of this game. But it was also the first Final Fantasy game that allowed for any character to use any weapons or any magic. It was the first one that allowed dual wielding, as this guy is mentioning right now. It was the first game that had the front and the back rows, as he's mentioning. Fighting unarmed truly is one of the most powerful things that you can do in this game. You can run from battles easily enough, and if you run from battles, your agility increases. And if you never run from battles, your agility is going to be low enough that it's very, very difficult to run from battles. Basically, there's just going to be a lot of weird stuff. Which is why I'm actually getting this quick refresher here. Sorry I'm not reading it all. I need to refresh and make sure that there's nothing here that I have forgotten. It's never really come up, but I read absurdly fast. Characters in the back row can't actually hit anything with weapon attacks unless they are using bows. And this actually allows you to grind up weapon skills by just having the people that you want to increase their weapon skills in the back row repeatedly using their attacks and accomplishing nothing. It's really crazy how many different ways this game's system can be exploited. But because of its inconsistent difficulty level, it really makes exploiting its system almost mandatory in order to have a good time with it. It's a very strange experience. How much money do I have to start? Alright, I got 400. I'm Paul, greatest thief in all the world. They've yet to invent the loot I can't burgle or steal. The imperial coffers have kept my purse fat with gil lately. Do you know about Wild Rose? I'd never steal from the rebels, you could be sure of that. My home was in Fynn too. I can't even go home now that the Empire has occupied my city. Alright, town of Altair, blah blah, Fynn was destroyed. My name is Gordon. I was once a prince of Kashwan. Ugh, that face of yours looks pretty defeated. Now I'm nothing but a coward. When my brother Scott fell in battle, I abandoned my kingdom and fled here. What about Wild Rose? So you've asked to take up arms in the struggle? I'm so afraid Hilda will turn me away that I haven't even asked her. I've been stalling here. I'm just a spineless coward. Go ahead, laugh! I deserve it. Dude, calm down. Where is the magic shop? Alright, this is the sanctuary. This is where you can revive. Where? Ah, there's the magic shop. Okay. Basically, I really want Cure. And screw it, I'll pick up a Blizzard. Because the game really rewards focused play, and you really don't want to be switching up what your characters do a lot, or they're just going to be weaker than they could be. It's a really good idea to decide right at the start what you want your end game with these characters to look like. It's just gonna save a lot of time and effort. Let's see. Their stats all start honestly close enough that it really doesn't make much difference. Like right now, Quill has, you know, a little bit of extra strength, stamina, MP. As the game progresses, that stuff is going to get, like, just completely blown away by the eventual stat changes we're gonna get. So, I've already decided Bob is going to be our big butt kicker. Because why the hell not, right? Yes, 3 leather caps. And there we go. It's not much, but it is something. And Bob and Lerp. Yeah, Bob and Lerp are going to rely on unarmed combat for now. Wait, Bob. Yeah, Bob is also right-handed, so... You know what? Screw it. Put an axe and a shield on Quill. I think that'll be enough. It's actually going to be quite a while before we get to our first dungeon. The very first thing we have to do is head north. And here is our first enemy of the game. Another reason I'm playing the Game Boy Advanced version of this game is that it did adjust the leveling system slightly And in a game like this, even slightly better is worth having. But one thing you're going to notice is that in a lot of these early fights, we are just not going to be gaining anything for a while. And it really does make it difficult to access this game. But you can see that Bob and Lerp have already gotten level 2 bare hands. That's good. In the NES original, they would have to have delivered 100 attacks with their bare hands before they got to level 2. And I am trying to get Quill's magical skills, spells, MP. I'm trying to get all of that increased. Yes! Thank you, monsters. Beat us up. Please beat us up. I need HP. Lerp, go ahead and hit Bob. Bob, go ahead and hit Quill. That was a bit too strong. I was hoping to lower Bob's HP by a little there so I could start artificially getting some maximum health increases. Obviously, that did not work out too well. Alright, here's Gatria. This is the village of Gatria. Finn is just over there across the lake, see? Actually, I can't see from my current location, so thanks for that. Imperial forces have occupied Castle Finn. The gates are drawn and no one can enter. And with Imperial troops and monsters roaming the streets, the city isn't any better off. There's a pub just on the outskirts of Finn. When the Empire invaded, the barkeep didn't make it out in time. They say he's still working there pouring drinks for the Imperials. A pub on the outskirts. That could be useful. As you pray, a warm light suddenly envelops you and a voice overflowing with compassion rings in your ears. Soul that wanders in death, return now from the distant land where sorrow and darkness hold sway. Yeah, thank you, guy, or whatever the hell I named. Oh god, no, that's Quill, that's me! I died! Thank you, Quill. Do you revive at full health or just like 1 HP? Of course you revive with 1 HP. Galtrea and Altair haven't fallen into the clutches of the Empire yet, but once the Dreadnought is complete, nothing will be able to stop the Empire. Do you sell anything of particular use? A leather armor will be worth grabbing. And we can afford 3 of those. I'm going to move Bob and Lerp into the back row. And yeah, I'm just going to exploit the game a bit, try to level up their skills some. Because if you get a little bit of grinding out of the way early on, it makes the game much easier. And you may think that this cost of 14 gil specifically is a little weird of a number to throw out for the inn in the first town you get to. That is because the cost to stay at an inn in this game is not fixed. It is actually variable depending on how much the party has to recover, which makes grinding in a single spot for long enough very inefficient, because eventually you might be spending more on healing yourself than you're making off of the monsters. And that sucks. There are so many things in this game that were almost really, really good ideas. But unfortunately, they were executed poorly. And the end result is that this is considered by many to be the worst Final Fantasy game. And it is almost exclusively because of those issues with its core mechanics. Because in terms of story, I would say this is probably the best of the NES Final Fantasies. Despite the fact that I absolutely love the crap out of FF3. I actually can't wait to get to playing that one. I'm really hoping I can actually take some damage here. Yes, Lerp and Bob are continuously missing in the back row, but that's what I want. I want them to be missing their attacks right now. Because even unsuccessful attacks are still slowly leveling up their unarmed skill. That means that, well, the skills increase from the number of uses, whether that use is successful or not. By keeping them in the back row and attacking like this, they are getting many, many more uses of their attacks much faster than they otherwise normally would. And hopefully that was enough magic use, yes, to actually increase Quill. So now Quill's maximum HP is 55, their maximum MP is now 15. Blizzard now is level 2, which makes it cost 2 MP instead of the 1 it had cost previously. And their magic has gone up by 1 to 6. It is not a fast experience leveling up in this game. It is, in fact, very slow and tedious. But if you know how to exploit the game and you take advantage of that, then it's possible to get ahead of the difficulty curve early on, and then you pretty much stay that way throughout most of the game. And I do say most because there are some absurd difficulty spikes in this game. Yeah, hornets can poison you. It's very annoying. But luckily, this particular poison is very weak, and it actually fades right after battle. So it's not as bad as it could be. And I'm actually really happy with this hornet. It's really giving me the opportunity to, exploit this. I may have to put Bob or Lerp in front for a while, just so that they will, develop their maximum HP as well. Because right here in the early game, I really, really need to increase my maximum HP. It is really important. And the only way that's going to happen is by letting them get the crap kicked out of them. But if you have a front and a back row, they're always going to prioritize front row over back row. There, thank you, Quill. Alright. Yep, see? Lerp and Bob both increased their skills again. Bob's magic went up again. Bob's maximum MP, their HP went up again. And Lerp and Bob have already hit level 3. Another thing is that I'm pretty sure that you can't fill up more than 1 bar per battle. So let's swap this around. I really want... I really want Bob... I really want Bob to be gaining maximum health. They only start out with 20, and that is just not enough. And we have made it to the town of Finn. It's just as we've heard. The city is crawling with Imperial soldiers. We have to be careful. Make sure not to get too close. So, you really don't want to interact with any of these. If I remember correctly, interacting with any of the Imperial soldiers will trigger an unwinnable battle against Black Knights. And all of the shops around town are empty. This is also the first Final Fantasy game where towns can actually change significantly over time, depending on just depending on the story. And that's actually something that wasn't even brought back very much in Final Fantasy III, where towns tend to be more static, with one fairly big exception right at the beginning. Holy crap! Yeah, you can see Bob is already hitting for crazy amounts of damage. And since Lerp is sitting here in the back row, I'm having Lerp break out some of their curing spells. You do level healing magic that you use outside of battle, but it won't contribute to your increases in spirit, MP, or magic stats, as far as I understand it. You really have to have an understanding of the mechanics of this game in order to exploit them. Like, Bob took several hits, but because of Lerp's cures, they didn't actually end with having taken enough damage for their HP to increase. There's that barkeeper we were told about. Whoa, where do you think you're going? Customers aren't allowed behind the counter. Those Imperials are as ill-bred as they come, and so we're gonna tell him, Wild Rose! And hope that no one else hears it. Aha, you're with the rebels. You'll find a secret door in this wall. There's a wounded soldier back there. Go see if you can help him. Huh? What am I gonna do? We've had it with this place. You guys can take it from here. Don't let us down. Well, he's gone. And here is the secret room, which also has some treasure. A potion, and a potion, and a potion. Are you going to turn me over to the Empire? At least have the decency to kill me first. My goodness, with a face that dour, it could only be Scott. I don't want them to take me alive. Ask about Wild Rose. So you're rebel soldiers, are you? My name is Scott. I am a prince of Kashwan. Prince Scott, we were told you fell in battle. Thank goodness you're still alive. I am, but not for much longer. I'm afraid I must ask a favor of you. There's something you must do. You must tell my brother Gordon. Tell him I know he has great strength. He must learn to have more faith in himself. I also have a message for the king. Tell him the reason Finn fell so quickly is that Count Borgin betrayed us. He's been made a a general in the Imperial Army. There's one more thing. Tell Hilda that I love her. No. Don't deliver that last message. The confessions of a dying man. They would only bring her pain. My brother Coperp. Have you heard of him? I'm sorry, but I have not. I wish I could be of more help. Here, I want you to take my ring. I'm sure it will be of use. Maybe it's all this talking, but I've grown extremely tired. If you'll excuse me, I just need to rest. Just for a little while. Yay, we got Scott's ring! Alright. And that is all we came here to do. Did the bartender just absolutely just jump? Yep, he just left. Probably made a fair amount of money selling alcohol. I mean, to be fair, I doubt the Imperials are paying much for it, but you never know. Another problem is that once you get stronger than monsters, many of them will just run away, which further increases the difficulty in controlling the grind. See, Bob only took 3 damage that whole fight. Not enough to trigger her leveling up. And 1 goblin is just not going to be enough at all. So we'll have Bob try to flee. I was hoping for a few unsuccessful fleeings, and then I could start working on her agility, but well, that didn't quite work. Oh yeah, that's a good hit. Good on you, Goblin. Thank you so much. Taking a critical hit, surely that has to help. Bob's stamina increased, but not their maximum HP. Although, the higher the HP stat, or the higher the stamina, the more health they will actually gain when they do level up. Let's drop a nice quick cure. There we go. That'll be enough to survive the attack. Hornets, please poison Bob. You are failing to poison Bob. There we go. Another crit and poisoned, and now you're free of poison. But you did... Okay. Guess it wanted to run away. Well, for some reason, Lerp's HP went up. So everybody's in a slightly better condition now. So let's actually check the end price. So right now it would be 37 gil to restore my HP and MP. But if I go and use Cure, and then if I use group versions just so that it's weaker, so I can get more uses out of it and try to level it up. Now the cost of staying here is only 32 gil. Yeah. The variable costs at inns is quite brutal. But I am finally making progress. And I'm going to keep having Bob be out in front for now. Try to get their HP more even with the rest of the party. And these things are going to die fast enough that I don't want to just start throwing blizzards out at them. But these things are so weak. They're so bad at hurting me. But don't worry, we will get to areas where we will take more damage and consistently increase our stats at a faster rate. But it is absolutely glacial at the start of this game. Took 6 damage. I don't... Okay, Quill's HP increased for God only knows what reason. Wait, am I supposed to be on the other side of that river? I feel like I might need to be on the other side of that river. You also have to be very careful with the world map. Even right now, this early in the game, I could go a little bit off course by heading more west and easily find areas with monsters in huge packs completely beyond my ability to deal with. Alright, and we have made it back to Altair. I think this has been an excellent start to this adventure, and I will see you all on the next one.